He was raised on rock and roll and Sinatra. He loves whiskey and dirty martinis. Growing up, a rare pink and white can of Budweiser was the pride of his beer can collection. His dad didn't have the heart to tell him it was just a regular can that faded in the sun. This is Rock on the Rocks with E.T.
All right, welcome to Rock on the Rocks. Couple great guests tonight. We have a really good friend of mine, a bartender I've known for years, H, and he's going to come on, talk a little music, make a cocktail for us. And then we have Nwaka Onwusa, who I haven't met until the show today, but we have a lot of friends in common and just, I think, a lot of mutual interest. So I'm excited to have her on, Chris. I think she's going to be a really fun interview with such a diverse background of where she started with music and what she's doing now. I just think has a lot of fun stories to tell us.
Yeah, I believe official title is VP and Curator of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum. But previous to that, as you just kind of alluded to, over 10 years at the Grammy Museum and a recent departee of Los Angeles, just like somebody else.
Yeah, just like me. Yeah, we're samesies. We're twinsies. We both just recently left LA. I'm actually surprised I didn't meet her at the Grammy Museum because we've done a bunch of stuff there over the years, and our years overlapped. So, but hey, we'll see her today. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk to her for a couple reasons. I've read snippets of a couple things I really want to dig a little deeper into about some experiences she's had. But also I have a surprise to show her. I have this rock and roll artifact that may or may not have been Jimi Hendrix's. So I want to see if she'll... That guy? Yeah, that guy.
Okay, sure.
It could be completely fake or it could be real, but I want her to help me find out the truth.
I like that.
She does a lot of that.
It's probably, you got to think, can you imagine even just trying to be Waka's friend, or God forbid you match with her on a dating app, because you're not going to impress her. Like, that's not going to happen. It's the things that woman has accomplished and the people she's been around. It's incredible. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing you guys talk.
Yeah, if you just think about some of the stuff that happens at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or the Grand Museum, and when you're the behind the scenes person, you meet everyone. And it's not weird because it's like, oh, this is Nwaka from the museum. She's going to help. And then there's like that safe factor where it's not like you're some crazy, musician walking down the street and someone walks up to you. Now there's a 90% chance they're a crazy person. Right. But when you're in her world, she's just one of that world. So she probably has such access to meeting and hearing cool stories and just having great experiences. So hopefully she will share some of them with us.
I think she will. I think you guys are going to get along great. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. So prior to bringing her out, we're going to bring out my friend H from San Francisco. Great bartender, owns a great bar, has a company he started a couple of years ago, and we'll bring him out, hear what he has to say. So let's do it. All right, H, welcome to Rock on the Rocks. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. It's been way too long, plus this 1.5-year buffer made it even longer. I was trying to think about, they were asking me before you jumped on when I met you, and I'm like, I don't even know. I just feel like I've known him for at least a decade, if not longer. And I couldn't tell you where that started, whether it was San Fran or a convention somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know.
At least it's got to be, I'd say 12 to 15 years.
Yeah, crazy
I can't remember specifically either.
It's always nice to know someone that might be doing this longer than me, so I don't feel so bad.
Well, yeah, I've been in the industry over 35 years now, so
I think you slightly edged me out. So yay me.
Old guy.
Yeah. Finally, I can. If someone says I'm the oldest guy, I'm like, have you met H? So I know we talked recently, and you've been in this industry forever, but you didn't start out having this industry on the mind. Like, you started out, I believe you, like a lot of us, wanted to rock out around the world. Is that true? Yeah.
Yeah. I started with my my guitar in the corner in like 5th grade. I think I got my first guitar.
Do you remember like the song or the band that you're like, I want to do that?
Oh, so many. I would say that one of the biggest early influences was Queen, early Queen. And those I mean, the basic rockers, of course, of Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. But, that was just rock to me. I want to rock like that. But when I really got into Queen, this early Queen records, is all that orchestration, and I was just like, that was what really kind of blew my mind with music, like what was possible, the depths of creativity, and that was just mind blowing to me.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, I've said this a lot on even this podcast, but my mom had this crazy record collection. I remember pulling out just random records, and one day I pulled out Zeppelin 4, and I was like, what is this? Like, it totally blew my mind, and I've been like a obsessed Zeppelin head ever since. I mean, I love all of that stuff, but that's the one band that just kind of, for me, is like your Queen, where it just that got me on the path. I guess we could probably all start with the Beatles, but then you kind of branch away a little bit here and there. Now, I feel like, because you've done a lot of stuff in the beverage world, for owning bars, now you have your own company. Would you say like some of that creativity from music you channel into your life now?
Absolutely. I think of entrepreneurship as an art form in and of itself, because when you are driven to create a business, you got an idea. It's just like getting a song in your head. You like, you sit down and sketch it out on a napkin. You sketch it out on whatever you can, and you don't want to lose the idea, and you keep going and you keep building on it until you get it right. You bring other people in it. That's where teamwork. Just band work is like teamwork. You got to get everybody together and get everybody on the same vision, and ultimately get to the product or the end point that is the culmination of everyone's work. And it's something you created, and you look at it and you're like, wow, that's cool. I did that. So at some point there, when I hit my mid-20s, and I had been in various bands. I was a ski bum in Vail, and I was playing in a great band, and I was bartending at a great bar, and I was having a great life, skiing 3-4 days a week. I knew that wasn't going to last forever, but I also kind of made the realization to myself that I'm not that talented. I'm just having a lot of fun. I'm never going to be a professional musician. I'm not going to make a lot of money at it. And so, and I also had my own business on the side. So that's when I decided to go to business school and study, work at things that I know would help me to make a good living, make a good life for myself, and knowing that music would always be there for the enjoyment.
Right. Do you think that was COVID helped you kind of, do you think you played more during COVID since you had some downtime probably?
Yeah, definitely. Being around the house and, not getting out of your pajamas. Definitely, well, it gave me more time to pick up my guitar and play around again. And, when you get the tough thing about, well, I guess it's just like, again, it's just like the art, you get sucked into your business, you get sucked into your creations, and you always want to make them better. And so I get sucked into my work quite a bit. I've got it between my bar and Elixir and Fresh Victor, my mixer company, and my catering business, Elixir to Go, and my consulting clients. I've got so many balls in the air and so many things happening all the time. And I have a family. And so you got to cut it off and focus on the family. And so there's just not, it sounds sad, I guess, but it's just not enough me time. Not enough time for me to sit around and strum my guitar because I'm doing these other things.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to tell your kid, no, you can't go to school because daddy's playing the guitar, or can't teach you fresh.
Yeah. Well, also I guess those impulses get replaced. Like, they're creative. A big creative outlet for me is making cocktails and making drinks or studying spirits, like getting into just sticking my nose into a glass of something nice and spending a half an hour on that ounce or two. That to me is like, it's analysis. It's, you know, looking at somebody else's creativity and understanding how that happened. I love all of that. So from the fun side of things, you know, I guess I always told myself after a while, if I'm not driven enough by the fun of playing guitar to pick it up all the time, then that's okay. I'm driven to do these other things that I enjoy. You know, I'm a workaholic, but I'm someone who loves my work. Our industry is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. If you work in this industry and you're not having fun, then you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you're good at it, it's because you're good. So you're a good person and you get it and you've got all the aspects that are needed.
Yeah. Look, and you can't sustain 35 years of being in the same career, not being good at it. So, talking about drinks and creativity and putting art behind what you do, I think there's a concoction you're going to make for us.
Yeah. Got a little drink that the drink that I kind of always go to as a rock and roll drink, besides a long neck bud in my hand sitting in the audience. Probably the only time I drink Budweiser. But,
right.
Is a whiskey sour. So I got a little play on a whiskey sour, featuring some of my favorite Jack Daniel's product, the Gentleman Jack. And I've got 2 ounces of that in here because I like a nice kick of whiskey. And then I'm going to use my mixers. I'm using both the Fresh Victor Mexican Lime and Agave and the Fresh Victor Lemon Sour. So these are, you know, if you don't have these, you can get them at freshvictor.com. But if you don't have them, you can lime and agave. Do half agave syrup, half lime juice. Lemon sour, half lemon juice, half sugar, or simple syrup, and you got it. So I'm going to put an ounce of each in here because I like the balance of having both the lemon and the lime. So there's 2 ounces of sour to 2 ounces of whiskey, or our 1-to-1 ratio. Our mixers are designed to be real easy. Mix on a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 basis, and you have with something. I could shake that up right now and have a great whiskey sour. Boom. But I'm going to tweak it just a little bit with some other flavors. It's cherry season. I love cherries, and I've been going crazy for cherries. So I use a little Cherry Heering, just a little ½ ounce to give that whiskey sour a cherry kick, and then a little bit of spice with some ginger bitters, a couple dashes of ginger bitters. Now you can make this nice and frothy and creamy with egg white, which I'm going to do. I'm just going to put about a ½ ounce of egg white. I would say ½ ounce to 3/4 is good. If you don't like egg white in there, it freaks you out. You don't have to do it. No reason for it to freak you out. It's completely safe. Give that a good shake. Oh, spray it all over your face. Like a pro. And then I'm going to put that into a footed highball, which is my favorite glass for a sour. And then I'm going to garnish that with a little cocktail cherry, and a piece of candied ginger. And voila.
Nice. Cheers to you. Looks refreshing.
Cheers to you.
I'm also, where am I at? Here we go. It does look frothy and delicious. So how long have you had the company?
Which?
Fresh
Elixir?
Fresh Victor.
Fresh Victor started in 2014. My buddy Ken McKenzie is the founder. He started it, and he and I had worked on a number of projects over the years. He had previously been in tequila, a couple different tequila companies that he started, and I worked on some stuff with him, both beverage catering and developing some recipes for his tequila business. And then when he decided to do this as its own company, came to me and said, let's do this as its own thing. And so, like any small new company, we went through a lot of changes in those years. We started as a consumer product, and when we launched an on-premise thing for bars and restaurants, then we killed the consumer product, and then the pandemic hit, so we turned the consumer product back on when the on-premise died. So in the last year, we've built a great consumer product business, retail business, direct to consumer through our website. We just launched on Williams-Sonoma's online catalog, and we're launching in supermarkets all over. Just got a Whole Foods approval in Northern California. So we're growing that line nationally. You can get it anywhere in the 48 states through our website. And then the on-premise is coming back on, and that, being in the bar industry, that's where a lot of my strengths are. I do all the recipe development and product development work, and working with national chains and getting it into hotels and casinos in Vegas. We're doing very well in Vegas, stuff like that.
Right.
So it's a fun business, very different. It utilizes all of my understanding and knowledge of the bar industry, but it's at the end of the day, it's a CPG company, consumer product.
Right. Nice.
So fun, different. I'm working with a lot of great people, a lot of amazing experience that's outside of my own realm. So nice to be in a real learning environment, learning from others. Well, then you go back to the bar, and rebuilding a bar right now it's just like the first year. We're developing new systems, new revenue streams, new operations, have to rehire. So,
did you get most of your people back after, or did some people just dip out of the business?
Yeah. We got a good chunk of them. We lost some to moves, changes in their own lives. But basically, pretty much everyone who wanted to come back is back, and we're still shorthanded, which I think you're probably reading about and seeing all over the place. It's hard to hire right now. I think a lot of people have decided to not get back into the business.
Right.
And I think there's always opportunity for new ones. We always say we don't hire bartenders, we hire good people. So we can teach anybody the bar business. I always say I can teach you to be a good bartender. I can't teach you to be a good person. So
I couldn't agree more. I think that's the hardest part of hiring bartenders, is finding people that naturally are welcoming and naturally want to take care of guests. Because, you can give me that recipe all day long, and I'm pretty sure you could give it to my mom and she can make that drink if you told her. But you can't make my mom a good person because she's already amazing. but other people might not be. But hey, man, look, I appreciate you coming on the show, and I wish you continued success, because every time I feel like we run into each other, you always have something great in the works or something you've already started. So rock on with yourself and keep going. And I look forward to September when I'm out in Idaho, and hopefully we can run into each other there again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man. You too. Congrats with all your success, and this podcast alone is pretty cool. I got to buzz through a few of the episodes, and it's really quite cool.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Well, hopefully this will be up soon, and the whole world could know what I already know, which is H is a cool guy, but that I'm happy to have in my life. So cheers to you, brother.
Thanks, brother. You too.
All right. Be well. Nwaka, welcome to Rock on the Rocks. We're very happy to have you. I have lots of fun things planned for you. There's people we know in common. I have a surprise for you that I've been waiting all week to show you and hopefully get some feedback.
Amazing.
But first of all, how are you? You good?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me on just to talk with you. I'm so excited about this show.
Yeah. So look, when I found out that you might say yes to come on the show, and I started doing a little deeper dive on you, what a cool story you have. If I'm correct, your father is Nigerian and your mom is from Louisiana, correct?
Yes. And I mean, it's so fun. So my mom, like the town that my mom is from is called Napoleonville. And I mean, it's lovely, just super small. I mean, it's country. So you're out, and when you say you out in the country, I'm in the country, like you out in the country. And So to have, that blend of, African American culture raising, I mean, that's been a really dope experience. Now that I'm an adult and can appreciate it,
Right.
it's like that was pretty dope.
So, but how quickly did they move you to LA, the other LA, Louisiana, LA to LA, LA?
So I'm California born and raised, West Side. Let's go. So, I mean, not to be throwing up gang signs, but truly from California, was born in Compton. So truly straight out of Compton. And then like that. So there's like a borderline. It's like Compton and Gardena. So we were on that fine line where we were kind of Gardena, but kind of in Compton. We moved, so my formative years, I can't claim that I'm a 213 baby through and through. I'm also a 909 baby, and I have to rep my other hood, my other like just village and family, which is in the 909, a city called Fontana, California. It's the way you get through to either go to Coachella or go to Vegas. And it's just an amazing, like that's where I grew up, which was also a small town, not so small anymore, but it's crazy. And then obviously after college is when I moved back to LA. So then I still claim LA. You call me, it's a 213 number. So that's.
Hey, my wife is 909 for part of her life. So
what?
Yeah,
no
she
way.
went to school out there.
Oh my God. What school did she go to? Do you know? Was it high school or middle school?
I'm going to have to edit this out. College. She always claims I don't know anything about her. And here I am.
Trying to get you in trouble.
She grew up Seventh-day Adventist, so she went to graduate school out in the 909 for physical therapy. And so it was University of Seventh-day Adventist. I don't know.
Okay.
Something. But yeah, so her cell phone is still 909. And
oh my God. That is so funny. I love it.
Yeah, because that's where we met in LA. Because after school, she moved to LA proper, and that's where we met. And she didn't realize I didn't know anything about anything yet, so she married me somehow. And now she's discovering all these awful things about me. But can't get rid of me. So you grew up, born in LA, but to parents that I'm guessing pop music and rock and roll and hip hop was not part of your upbringing with your family.
No, it was not. And I mean, there's a part of me that's like, damn, I wish it was. But I mean, I'm also just really grateful for, the passion that I do have, like just as a music chaser, like it's really interesting and it's amazing to, we're always learning something, right? Like every day clearly we're just talking about that, learning something new all the time, that's life. But I love that I'm living that life through the music. So there's, I love the passion that I have for it. Just coming up the way I did. We grew up, my family, so I have two younger sisters. I'm the oldest of them. And, we listen to gospel music. My mom, when they moved here, definitely like fans of James Brown, Earth, Wind and Fire. Yes. Like, I mean, they love like the classic, like funk. And my dad was really into Fela and still listened to a lot of Nigerian musicians. Obey Ebenezer being one of them. Absolute favorite of my dad's. But anyway, so we were still listening to like a melting pot of different things though. So, but my upbringing, my raising, like my mom was the one who raised us on that day to day. And it was gospel music. It was like, you are not listening to that worldly music, she's
Right.
a Southern lady. So it's really interesting, just that blend of culture, even like Nigerian, down south, Louisiana, country, Louisiana, to have this, it was an interesting household. Like I knew not to just mess with him. I was like, I'm not even going to ask. Like, the answer is no. Like, they're just so
Right.
strict. I'm just like, the answer is no. Like, go to school. We're not ditching school. We're not doing any of that. Like, just do what you
So
got to do, Waka.
where was that first influence where you, and again, not like gospel and all this stuff isn't great.
Yeah.
And I do want you to
Yeah.
email me some of those Nigerian references so I can look them up. But
Yes.
But what was that bridge from, hey, I grew up with this influence and then this is what changed? Like, oh shit, what is that?
Yeah. The Chronic changed me. I feel like it was the Chronic.
Yeah.
That album, like the mixtapes that were coming out during that time, Lauryn Hill changed me. Oh my God. Like the miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Right.
Like she's like my spiritual mother, like my spiritual auntie. Like who else, are you, being mentored by musically? Like her music, every song on that album was just like teaching me something about myself. Erykah Badu, the whole just like soul R&B, neo soul family, like those Soulquarian just trifecta definitely like impacted me. I needed a lot of, thank God for like that kind of positive identity reaffirming music. And I definitely listened to a lot. I mean, I was a huge fan of Slipknot as well, believe it or not. Like I bounced around like different crews in school. Like, okay, I had my puka shell necklace, my metal ball chains. Like I rode a skateboard. Like, like I was all over the place, believe it or not. It was really weird. So I was always very interested in like just different subsets of not only music cultures, but just like, when you're in middle school or high school, it's just like you got your jocks, you got your cheerleaders, you got, the whole thing. And I would just bounce all the way the hell around it.
That's the fun thing, because I always felt like a little bit similar, where instead of just sticking to one crew where you're either a jock or preppy or nerd or burnout, like I like to be in all of them. Because then you get a little bit of experience. Because I was an '80s baby, spent my middle school in the '80s. So, we, on the one hand, you have, I kind of skipped hair metal, but you have like all this progressive rock and all this like Duran Duran stuff. But then you have breakdancing and you have the beginning of all that New York hip hop. So it's like all over the place. And why not love it all?
Why not love it all? Like you don't. And I think, this is so funny because I'm now realizing that about myself. Like I really did hang out with that. Like I was in photo club. I was a cheerleader. So I had that part of me too, but I wasn't like, like partying, like, so I didn't exploit that, but I played all the sports. Like I did all the things, but I truly did like just bop around. That's crazy. I never really like thought about it that way until talking this out with you right now.
Well, look, that's probably
crazy.
how you got to where you are, because you don't have one thing. You have many things that culminate. Because the first job that I know about for you is prior to what you were doing now. You're at the Grammy Museum in LA, and that's how like Lauren and John, our mutual friends. Now, yeah, good guys.
I hope they're watching.
They will. We'll make them. But what a cool experience, because just a little bit I was able to touch the Grammy Museum and help out with some event stuff. I was there for the Sinatra installation. I got to see Dolly Parton there. I got, so I can't imagine, that was just me slipping in a tiny bit. You were there day in, day out. So you must have experienced so much cool stuff.
It was, and I was there for a little over 10 years. Like, so it was that, like, that was my school. That was my musicology. Like that, like truly on that level, like you're learning so much at a fast rate. And to your point earlier, like you're learning about so many things. This isn't just like the one thing. The dope thing about the Grammy Museum too was that because we had to follow these, the blueprint of like, hey, there are over 89 categories, that are celebrated and recognized. So it's not just the top 10. It's not, like we're at the AMA Museum or the Billboard Museum. It's the Grammy Museum. Like,
Right.
put some respect on my name. Okay. So, like we don't, it's a Grammy. So to really have eyes and to then have access to so many different genres, so many different artists was like mind blown, like, holy shit. Like, this is just, it was amazing. It really was great. Great experience.
So I remember, so if you were there 10 years, so you were there when Bruce Springsteen was the Music Cares Person of the Year.
Person of the Year.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I worked the you know how you do the big auction event and then everyone goes for the
Yes.
dinner?
Yep.
So I did that like 3 years in a row bartending. And
Nice.
the Springsteen year, I had brought someone to help me because I realized how much work that was. And I heard through the auditorium, because the auction was in one place and the show was the other. So we're during setup and I hear Born in the USA. And I was like to my buddy, I'm like, John, come with me. Our badges aren't the right badges, but just act like you live there and let's just go. So
Just
like,
go.
Security, I'm like, hey man, what's up? And just walk through and just don't even, just act like we own it. And we go in and it wasn't Springsteen. It was Neil Young and the guitar player for Rage Against the Machine. Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh, Tom Morello?
Tom Morello, yeah.
Yes.
Doing Born in the USA. And they get done. We got like halfway through. We get there and they're done. And Neil Young was like, how was that? And Tom was like, it's pretty good until you missed the whole middle verse. And it's like, I did. He's like, let's do it again. So we got to hear it from top. I'm like, this is like that kind of stuff like makes me like lose my mind where you get, and you lived it. So like, what were some of those moments for you that you're like, holy shit, this is what I'm experiencing?
Oh my God, that is so dope. And on Born in the USA, last Friday was the 37th anniversary of Born in the USA being really, and I'm not literally like one of these like quoting dictator missionaries. Right. I don't do that shit. Like, I mean, and no shade to anyone who does. There are people who, are like music's Bible, and we thank God for them. I'm not that. Like, on some things I am. But literally, I know this because I had an amazing conversation last Friday, and this came up, but it was the 37th anniversary of Born in the USA so let me just get this right, because let's see, that was the 4th. So June 4th, Born in the USA was released. So just always for that. I mean, I love that song. Oddly, Bruce Springsteen was like one of my dad's favorite musicians. Like, that song, like, without a doubt, definitely heard even just that one song, not even knowing, the amazing, just scope of Bruce's music. Right. But my dad would blast Born in the USA. And it meant, growing up and obviously now understanding, having different interpretations of even what Born in the USA means for an immigrant. So for me, like, whenever I see my dad or hear him playing that song, I'm just like, I'm moved. My heart is for all the immigrants watching. So, and then for those who are just reborn in this country, I mean, where you can be native of this land and still be reborn here. So for sure. I think, anyway, sorry, you just got me on a whole tangent, but I love that song, and I love Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. I feel like Springsteen is one of those artists where if he's not someone's favorite, you can't not respect the man for what he does. Like, boss. Yeah, he's the boss. I saw him at Jazz Fest, not with his band, when he did those Pete Seeger sessions. And I didn't know a ton of, like, I didn't like have a library of Pete Seeger stuff in my head. Yeah. So it's tough to go to. He didn't do any Springsteen stuff, just Pete Seeger stuff.
Wow.
He was so captivating without really knowing 94% of the stuff I heard. No one left. Like, that shows you something about someone that's that talented, where they can do an entire show of music most people won't understand, wanting to hear all his other hits, not hearing any of them, and still staying and being captivated. That shows you how talented he is.
And that's so much talent and so much, just his passion. Like, the way he delivers a song is just, I don't know, it hits your heart. Everybody's got a lonely heart. Like, come on, like everybody's got, like, the way he sings to you, you feel like you're truly the only person in the room, or like he just makes me, I don't know, Bruce touches your soul. Like now my jaw is like tickling because I'm like, it's just the way he does something. That he's amazing.
He puts it all, like he does not hold back. He is not going to do a show half-assed. He is going to give you everything in the tank he has, and you feel it. I've seen him a decent amount of times, and it's just like he, no matter how old he gets, he gives you everything he's got, and it's such a breath of fresh air to go see him in concert because you get it all. And there's look, Springsteen's top 10 of all time, but there's so many other people that are talented, and I feel like there was a moment at the Grammy Museum, I did read about this, that you got to get involved with like one of your idols who was no longer living, but you got to like put together and curate.
Mary Wilson? Are you talking about Ms. Wilson?
No, but I want to hear about that.
Who are you?
I was talking about Tupac.
Oh, God,
didn't you get to like meet his whole family and like curate that whole exhibit?
Yeah, I did. Like that was, oh my God, that's so fun. Because there are so many moments. I do want to talk about Ms. Wilson too, but Tupac, that was so special. So the Grammy Museum, like I'm now blanking on the exact square footage, but I like to refer it as a boutique museum, because you're not like, don't go to the Grammy Museum expecting like the Mocha. We're not going to walk you around like that. Like this is not the Met. But it's such a beautiful and intimate experience with music. And so, you know, when I was curating exhibits, it was like, we may have this much square footage, but hell, like it's not about the quantity. It is the quality. It's the quality of the story. It's the quality of the artifact, the artist, obviously, it's the Grammys. So that caliber is obviously there, but to even like exhibit that and come up with a narrative. So the exhibit was called All Eyes on Me, The Writings of Tupac Shakur, because I was, given access and privy to access to his writings. And talk about mind blowing. Like, sure, it's like you know what you know, but you only know so much. Like once you really get in touch with an artist to like engage in a certain way, it's like, sit down, like Kendrick says, sit down, be humble, like sit the fuck back. Excuse me, I don't know that, but sit down.
Oh, good.
Like sit down and humble yourself. Like there's something to always learn from the music. Music, in the words of Fela, is spiritual. It's nothing to be played with. It really isn't. So seeing those notebooks, you can be the biggest Tupac fan, and I'm not coming in here like, like I know all this shit. No, those notebooks, that writing, I learned so much during that experience. And I've had the support of the estate behind me. And during that exhibit, we were able, I was so, the museum, we were a small staff. And that was also really powerful too. That was just a very intimate working relationship. I mean, people are talking about, furloughed staffs now. Like we always were working off of a small staff. So I got to, because of that, I was like, we were all working together. I was able to touch on education and impact that. I was able to touch on programming and, share my feedback. Like this would be a dope program. So like, in addition to when you're doing an exhibit, it's not just like this flat moment. We needed to have a celebration. We needed to have an opening. And at that time, Afeni Shakur was alive. And, that was just like to have her blessing on the exhibit and just.
That's Tupac's mom.
Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur, who is an amazing freedom fighter, a revolutionary, a mother of the revolutionary, an original Black Panther. She was a Black Panther. I mean, this woman was just a force to be reckoned with. So to stand next to power, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I will never freaking change my cover on Facebook. If you're ever following me on Facebook, there's a picture of me and Afeni Shakur, and I will keep that shit there forever. And that was the day that I posted it, was the day that photo was taken, or the month that was taken. And so to have her blessing on it, like, Tupac would really be proud. Those writings had never been on display in that manner. Or ever. So it drew so many fans, not just from the Los Angeles area, but just from all over. The programming was sick. We had YG before he was like YG, like doing these amazing, like he was on the panel. We had Chuck D on the panel, Money B from Digital Underground. Gosh, who else? Like there were, there were just so many people on that panel who were connected to Tupac in a real way. And that was one of the highlights of my museum curating careers, for that to happen. So never in my wildest dreams could have, like, what? Oh my God. So now my dad like loves Tupac, and then my mom like now the Christian home, like, I turned them out now, ET. Like I turned them out. Now they listen to all kinds of shit. Like now they're loose. It's like, look, we're not babies. Like I'm listening to it all. Like, please, uncensored. Get a hold of it. No, but they're now open. I will never forget like traveling home to see my parents, and my dad was playing Tupac. Like it was a video. He was like watching a video, like just, in YouTube, how you can just go down the rabbit hole with an artist. I'm hearing Tupac. So I'm like, who's playing Tupac? It was my dad.
Wow, that's amazing.
I love it. Look at that. And you're never too old to learn and appreciate something. And that's what I love about
never. Music. And stuff changes as you get older. Like stuff you heard when you were a kid, you hear it again 30 years later, and it's a whole new meaning.
So different. Takes on a whole new meaning. So I'm happy to be discovering and rediscovering music.
Well, you brought up education, and when you were at the Grammy Museum, I'm assuming the program is still there, or at least once COVID's done, but was there something where you guys inspired a really young girl who somehow became like the biggest sensation ever?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes. Oh my God. And now there are two sensations that are birthed out of this. So the program we were opening our doors to homeschooled students, so let's just drop it. So Billie Eilish was one of the students who participated in our summer sessions, our music industry courses. Like we offered a ton of like different courses where we gave students an opportunity to really engage and touch these producers, engineers, writers, lawyers, attorneys, songwriters. I mean, like the full gambit. And we had programs called Backstage Pass. I'm going to drink some too. Cheers.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers. We didn't do that yet. We didn't even cheers.
I know. We got right into it.
We did. But, we had, a variety of students who participated with music industry photography. Like we were just able to think outside of the box. And I helped to develop those programs, whether I was teaching them or inviting the talent or the instructors. And it was me and another young lady who, we did that shit. It was us. We were helping to build this program. And so the moment I believe I've read Billie remembering is where we had an event with Stevie Nicks. And again, these are one of these just amazing aha moments where it's like Stevie Nicks did a Backstage Pass, and Backstage Pass was a program where we truly gave students a backstage pass to either view a live sound check of a musician, or so like in LA, we're on the campus of LA Live, which is where the Staples Center is, where the Lakers play, the Clippers play, NHL LA Kings play, and
they make me homesick.
And gotta call them all out. Got where the Sparks play, and so we would take students behind the scenes, truly either to the Staples Center, to Club Nokia, or the Novo as it's known now, or Microsoft Theater. And we really give those kids an opportunity. Like, they were the only ones. Maybe it'd be 10 kids or 15 kids just watching Lady Gaga perform, or watching Katy Perry perform, or watching any B or C level. Like, really,
Right.
if you're booking the venue, we're going to hope to get you access. So all that to say, Stevie Nicks performed for a backstage pass, and that was one of those moments where we all took a group photo. And I think I can find that photo somewhere. But I mean, it was just one of those touching moments where she not only spoke to those kids and the students, but she then did a program later that evening. Another artist who is doing his damn thing is Giveon, and he actually did a feature on an album with Drake, which then obviously hit his career through the roof. He now has a song with Justin Bieber, and like, all coming through the Grammy Museum. I mean, all
That's
those
amazing.
kids, that was LB Cap. Gotta like shout them out. Like, I hope find money for buses for those students to get to the Grammy Museum. We wanted to make sure that, if we're serving those students who are in socioeconomic backgrounds that are obviously heavily impacted by just the world that we're living in, either have access. We didn't want any kids, as much as we could do our part
Right.
as an educational institution, to provide those resources. And so we did. And it's exciting. Like, I'm like, damn, those kids, like, I actually know those kids. I'm like, I'm not trying to be all like fangirl, but like, I know y'all.
That's
Really
hilarious.
cool.
That
Really
is,
amazing.
look, and you don't really know, right? Like, those days that they spent at those programs could have been the thing that put them over the edge from I can't to I can, or I won't, or I will. And now you're at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so, which is amazing. But you've been there how long now?
2.5 years officially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you're vice president, and you do a lot of curating of installations, and you bring in some of the pieces, right? And Donna Summer's dress, right?
Yes, we had,
stuff
Donna
like that.
Summer, working on a bunch of things. Whitney Houston, all over the place. Gosh,
I have to ask you, have you ever seen a fist fight in the hallway because someone didn't get into the Rock and Roll Hall? Like, two people saying, "How could you not vote that person in?"
No,
have you ever seen anyone wrestling in the hallway?
but there are truly, the conversations that I've overheard while touring the museum, definitely they do get tense. Like, people are very passionate when you're coming to the Rock Hall. Like, you're not sure you can just. It's definitely an amazing tourist attraction as well. It's like one of those places you must come and visit before. Like, you got to come to the Rock Hall if you're a music lover. It's a holy grail. Like, it's on your path. It needs to be on your journey. So truly, I'm like,
I was there many, many, many years ago. I need to come back as a more adult. But so before we get into that, I have a little surprise that I've been waiting to show you, because I know you touch a lot of artists, whether it's Tupac's notebooks or Donna Summer's dress or something from someone else. So give me 1 second.
Okay. I like surprises, and when they're immediate.
So, do you see this?
Wow, what is this? Who is that? Who does that belong to?
Belongs to me. However, legend has it, this was Jimi Hendrix.
No.
Yeah.
No. What?
So, a friend of mine, her mom was a self-proclaimed groupie, and I guess really indulged the late 60s, early 70s lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, as she told me once, we would have, because that's my, I, like you were saying, I bounce around, but if I was desert islanding my music, it would be, late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, she's like, I fucked an almond brother. I can't remember which one. Like, that's her vibe. Like, she just lived that life. And
Yeah.
she knew how much I loved, Zeppelin and the Beatles and all that stuff and that whole era. So one day, I was hanging out with her and her daughter and some other friends, and she goes and comes back with this jacket, and she's like, "Hey, listen, years ago, I spent the night with one of Jimi Hendrix's roadies, and they were leaving town, and he was just like, hey, thanks for giving me some love. Here, this is Jimmy's. He won't know it's not here anymore. He is not going to wear this again," or whatever it was. The guy's like, "Here, it was Jimi Hendrix's jacket." And she's like, "I think you would appreciate it," which I do, but I've been trying for the past like 15 years or 18 years to confirm. I mean, the brand is that era specific. It was from that era. And it looks like something Jimmy could have worn, but
oh my God, we need some provenance. I mean, we got to look at photos and like,
yes.
She needs to give you like the date or like at least the year of, well, we can narrow it down, but if she can at least give you a closer to a year, the years of when and where she was and what show that was, we can probably narrow down like what show.
Smart.
We should, yes, it's through the photos. And that's another like love and passion of mine. It's like the photos are truly the evidence. And that is a quote that I'm taking from one of my dear friends, Bruce Talaman, who's an amazing music photographer. Not just music, he's an amazing photographer. Like he's dope as shit. But Bruce is like, the photographs are the evidence. And it's truly the evidence. If you can track down the photos, based on and do some, like I love doing some Indiana Jones investigative work. Like that is a part of curating. Like you got to dig.
Yeah.
And
cool and it's all like, there.
It is. So it's just like, let's do some digging. Oh my gosh. We can find out.
Well, let's do that. And also, we talked earlier about both knowing and loving Henry Diltz and like all
photographer. Like, yes.
Yeah. They capture life for us. Because without the photograph, like a buddy of mine told me a story in New York or it was against Jersey, Les Paul Studios. The story that I was told and the story I've been telling are this far apart because you remember, like my story got so sensationalized because it just kept getting better in my head. And then I finally was talking to the buddy that told me the story, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that time Jimmy Page." He's like, "That's not what I told you." Like, what? And the story he retold me, like, "Oh, that story's not even that fun." No wonder I remade it up. But with the photos, it happened, right?
It happened. It's the evidence. So truly, like the photographs are the evidence. I mean, I'll have to find this before we get off, or I'm just going to email it to you. But it's a photo of. So Henry. Also know him through the Grammy Museum. We worked together closely on an exhibit called California Dreaming. Wait, was it California Dreaming? Sounds of Laurel. Wait. But it was an exhibit on Laurel Canyon. And so, I mean, from the amazing Crosby, Stills and Nash, their first album cover to get like classic Joni Mitchell. Like, I mean, his image, Jimi Hendrix, being at Woodstock, like the whole damn thing. Like he's one of the greats up there who just truly captured some of the most seminal moments in music history. Period. Point blank. Like the scope cannot be questioned. And the fact that he's still here, he's a true treasure. And
sure is.
So we got to work to get Sounds of Laurel Canyon. Was it California Dreaming? The Sounds of Laurel Canyon?
He had a book, and it might have been called California Dreaming. So maybe that would make sense.
We did.
I feel like he does have.
It was
one of his books is about Laurel Canyon.
Yeah, it was. I want to say it was. I know I have that book on my bookshelf somewhere. But yeah, getting an opportunity to work closely with him on that and seeing his photographs intimately, I got a chance to visit his studios. I was doing a lot of driving through Laurel Canyon and
Right.
just so it was just nothing but good vibes. I mean, so that was an amazing exhibit. We had Mama Cass's actual rocking chair in that exhibit. Like, it was like we pulled some things, like you're talking about 60, 70, like from the Birds to
Right.
Buffalo Springfield, like, I mean, Poco, like, I mean, just all of the bands. It was a really great experience, but it was
It was
through
a
the
creative
photographs.
force. Yeah.
Yeah, it was through the photographs that we were able to help tell that story.
And keep telling it, which is what museums are good at, because like when you're at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you are keeping history alive for generations to come. And now you've been there 2 years. There has to at least at this point been a moment where you're like, I love this job. Like, what was that? Like the, Tupac at the Grand Museum. Like, what's been that moment for you here at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
God, you know what? It's a little different, I think. Like, getting here, because there was so much of that like artist moment at the Grammy Museum. Not like there was so much of it and it was just so full. Actually, I lie. I'm totally fucking lying. I am so lying. Okay. There are several moments. Okay, let's say, oh my God. So I have a photo, I'm looking at it right here, of Mavis Staples. I had an opportunity. She was our person of the, there was a series called Music Honors. And hopefully it's a series that we can definitely bring back. But Music Honors, we were able to honor Mavis Staples. And I was the lead curator on that. And I got a chance to meet her in Chicago, collecting, got to meet her, go to her home. And it was just so amazing to meet, again, another icon, like how we're talking about Henry, but like someone so pivotal in music, where their career from the 40s, and to still be relevant now, and you're making songs with freaking Ben Harper and and Tom Morello. And I mean, she is rock and roll. She's just such a badass. So that was like, oh, whoa, holy shit. Like, this is amazing. There have been there have been a lot of moments. Okay. So then I'll say the second thing, and maybe I'll do like a third, but second thing would be attending the induction ceremonies in New York. And that was when Radiohead was inducted, Janet Jackson, the Zombies, was it Queen? No, I think Queen's already been in. Who? Oh, he was presenting. But anyway, I mean, it was an amazing show, say the least. And being backstage, I got to work, closely with the artists. And so it was just like after Def Leppard. I mean, like, it was a pretty dope experience just to work the show differently, because it's not, the scale of it. Yes, I've been a part of like the Recording Academy show, and that is just insane on its own because it's so many categories. This is a much smaller we're honoring maybe 5 to 6 this year's ballot, or this year's nominees. There are 13 inductees this year, which is probably the largest class we've ever had, which is insane. And
what about the phenomenon of
show?
what's that? It's a what show? Because
it's a smaller show. I mean, although it's a just as far as like how many artists are running around. Like with the Grammys, it's like thousands of people running around. You know what I'm saying? So it's not not the scope and the magnitude of the show.
But you touch it better, right? Because when you're there, you're like right there with. It's not massive.
Exactly. So it was that feeling. It was great.
What about the phenomenon of the whole Prince? While My Guitar Gently Weeps, now it's kind of gotten a rebirth again because of the director's cut.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So that performance. So again, another moment, and I don't want to give it away. We have a really cool theater called The Power of Rock, and you have to see, like, it's, you know, just a compilation film of some of the greatest induction rock hall moments ever. And that is one of the, do I want to say finale moments? But it's a finale moment, watching that performance. And truly, Prince throws his guitar in the air. And so for those who haven't seen it, like, you must YouTube it. You can go on Rock Hall's YouTube channel, and I believe it's up there to watch his performance. And happy birthday, Prince. Today is Prince's birthday, June 7th. May he forever rest in purple peace. And you know, that guitar just like goes floating. I think they said Oprah was in the audience, and like, I mean, some heavy hitters were sitting at tables, so they got to see it. But even them, they were like, we didn't even see where the hell the guitar went. So it was like, yes, it was magic, but it was something that Prince and his team had, you know, had some real power over.
I mean, I think because Prince was so damn creative and artistic. I think his guitar playing was overlooked for so many years by non-musicians. I think people that play music know and always knew that Prince was amazing at guitar, but I think for people that just love Prince, you're so into the funk or the this vibe or the that you don't really think about the who's playing what. And then when you see him, I've seen him live a few times. I'm like, holy shit. And I'm not a huge fan of this person, but I'll bring him up just for this quote. Somebody asked Eric Clapton how it felt to be the greatest living guitar player a couple years ago. And his response was, I don't know, ask Prince. And, you know, and and not taking anything away from Clapton's guitar playing. I mean, he's amazing, but Prince, it's effortless almost. It doesn't even look like he's trying, which when you watch most guitar players, they make these anguished faces to play these notes. And Prince, it seems like he literally like,
it's just flowing out of him.
Yeah. And it's like,
it's
so easy.
It's so easy. Like, truly, that is a perfect performance, I would say, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Watching him play that, and that was another aha moment for me. Like, when I first toured the Rock Hall and I saw that film, I was weeping because it was just so emotional to watch. Like, and now that they're both gone, watching Tom Petty and Prince perform together, two amazing musicians sharing the stage, like that sadly will never fucking happen again. And to watch that, oh my God, like you said, it's just effortless. And to see his, I mean, the way he plays, his plucking prowess, like he's just a genius at it. And so truly, you're right, we don't talk about the skill of his playing enough. So today, Prince, you are one of the best.
It seriously was. Like, I saw him at the Staples Center to go back to there at LA Live.
That series of concerts. Oh,
and
my goodness.
I remember, because like I said it to you earlier, I'm Zeppelin obsessed, and his encore was a 15-minute version of Whole Lotta Love. And when he was done, he put his guitar on the stage, and one of his entourage came out and put a white sheet over it, like he just killed the guitar, and then walked off the stage. It was like, you know, it was amazing. And then to finish it with that, it was just so classic. And
oh my God.
But I remember, like, talking about 80s, like that, he was one of those artists from the 80s that when you talk about some of the stuff that didn't work and doesn't age well, Prince, like, there's nothing about Prince that doesn't age well.
It's nothing about him that doesn't age well at all. Like, he's forever timeless. Prince is forever timeless. So I just changed my light behind me to purple. So.
Oh, nice. Good work. I love that you can do that, by the way, without going over anywhere.
Yes. You got to get them. Wi-Fi lights, Wi-Fi light bulbs. I mean, you learned a lot during COVID. I didn't, you know.
Hey, I have a Wi-Fi garage door, so baby steps.
Ah, okay.
So
that's
like if I'm walking the dogs and it's raining and I come in the garage, I can just do it on my phone.
Nice. Okay.
Good times.
Okay.
I'm getting there, but I want to do the light thing. I think that's cool, especially if like you leave and like, I should have left the light on so people don't think I'm not home.
Yeah,
Just
and you can schedule it. You can schedule them. You can do. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, you can turn your hair down so you don't waste money. Do lots of stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And people can watch everything you do and start submitting things for you to buy because of your practices. And then start blackmailing you for.
Bad. It really is. Like, I hate it when you go at me and literally, I mean, I love Google, but God, it's like literally everything I say. Then all of a sudden it's like, here's did you need me to help you find? Like,
yeah. Still looking for those shoes?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to, I don't want to keep you for the rest of you're so fun to talk to, but last thing I want to ask you, with all this music stuff that you've experienced coming from one style as a child and now you're just like, you are a melting pot of loving all kinds of music. If you had to pick one album for the rest of your life on that deserted island, could you do it?
Damn. Oof. It would be, oof. Oh, now that's one I needed. That would have been the one pre-question. Let's see.
What fun is that?
Damn. It's going to be Miseducation. F it.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be her. I mean, she's my middle ground. She gives me funk. She gives me she gives me ballads. She's bouncing all over the place just to save myself on this one. Cause now I'm like, oh shit. Wait, what? Wait, huh? Oh my God. Or it could be Let It Be too. I love the Beatles. That album is so good.
Good.
We'll just stick with Miseducation.
Yeah, I mean, you made a big case for her earlier, so it makes sense to bring it back to her.
We're gonna stick with that.
And the Beatles are too easy, right? It's like
Beatles
get everything.
But that album is such a good one. Or actually, Sgt. Pepper's. I fucks with that one too. Like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club. That
Abbey Road. So much. My mom's favorite quote of the Beatles, or favorite lyric, is and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. And look, it's so funny because like I'll tell the world how I'm Zeppelin all day, all night, but I think the Beatles are in a whole nother. You can't ever put them in the conversation. You can't even. They're not comparable. It's the Beatles and then everyone else, and because of all the different changes they went through and how much they still influence so many people, and all of the afterlife of the Beatles and all the directions they went, and it's just you can't. It's not fair to compare them. Then it's
you
the
can't.
Beatles.
No, that's like trying to compare LA to New York. Like absolutely not. Like you just don't do that. They're just two separate greats. Like that's it. Like they're just they're in their own realm of greatness. So that's it. That's how I see it.
I look forward to coming up and seeing you at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame soon. And I cheers you again.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm not a drink, but cheers.
Uh-oh. Cheers.
Yeah, we're going to do this one a little bit later. This is my Uncle Nearest.
Yes.
Good. My counter to your Jack Daniels back there, too.
Well, it's all in the same family.
Uncle Nearest? They're all in the family.
Yeah.
Love
all in
it,
the family.
Right? All in the family.
The Fawn is a good friend and her team from Uncle Nearest. So,
nice.
But yeah, we have a very nice shared history with Jack Daniels and Uncle Nearest. So you don't lose any points for sipping from that bottle. You could have shown me another bottle and be like, wait, what? But I'll let it go. I'll let go.
Yes. Cool.
But no, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Yes. You rock, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Thank you so much, and you're welcome at the Rock Hall anytime. Looking forward to meeting you in person.
Great. Perfect.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to Rock on the Rocks. Be well, be kind, rock on.